Welcome to Uncaged Zootours. If you also love animals, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and the bell icon to join me on my tours. My friends, it's been a while, but we are back at the Nashville Zoo. Since I have a lot of new friends joining me on this tour, here's a brief recap. We started our adventures at the entry village, where we heard hooting Siamese and met some friendly meerkats. Today, we're beginning our trek into the jungle loop. Is that one large exhibit? No, it's a bunch of exhibits, and today, we'll begin with the loop's first few exhibits, the Kangaroo Kickabout and the Tiger Crossroads. The Kangaroo Kickabout opened in 2013, while the award-winning Tiger Crossroads opened in 2019. We'll get up close and personal with my favorite big cat, learn how a rare antelope almost went extinct, and even meet one of the cutest marsupials. Let's hop to it. I have to stop doing these bad puns. Let's begin right where we left off with the saddle-bill storks, and across from them is a bird I don't expect to see when I think of Australia or Indonesia. The Trumpeter Swan is a very beautiful bird, and can be pretty sassy. Trumpeter swans are also North America's largest waterfowl. As I mentioned in my Flamingo Lagoon tour, I said that swans could be territorial. Throughout the 19th century, trumpeter swans were hunted for their feathers, meat, and just for sport. The trumpeter swan almost went extinct or completely died out by the early 20th century, and there were only 70 left in and around Yellowstone National Park. However, in the early 1950s, several thousand trumpeter swans were discovered in Alaska's Copper River. Nowadays, the trumpeter swan is listed by the IUCN as least concern. Our next stop is also the first part of the jungle loop.
Alright! Besides, I didn't know that swans were dangerous. Are there any other dangerous birds?
Well, there are ostriches, and then there are the channel's first cassowaries. Like the ostrich, cassowaries are ratites, a group of flightless birds that includes rheas, kiwis, and the extinct moa. Cassowaries have fluffy black feathers that act like an umbrella when it rains. Besides, cassowaries live in the rainforest of northern Australia and New Guinea. And if you're wondering why these two birds are kept separate, it's because cassowaries are very solitary, aside from the mating season, that is. And if the cassowary is threatened in any way, the bird gets angry. A cassowary's foot has 3 toes and a 4-inch dagger-like claw. One kick from this angry bird can seriously injure someone. That was scary, but I know just the thing to ease the mood. My friends, we made it to Kangaroo Kickabout, one of the zoo's 3 interactive exhibits. And yes, we are allowed to pet these red kangaroos, but you can only pet their backs. And I was lucky enough to see a kangaroo joey. By the way, the word joey also applies to other baby marsupials, like koalas. A newborn joey is the size of a grape. After they're born, the joey heads on a journey to its mother's pouch. 4 months later, the joey can leave its mother's pouch, and 6 months later, the joey is ready to leave the pouch for good. Isn't that cute?
It is.
I couldn't agree more. And maybe one day, this little guy will become the new boss of the mob. Now it's time to head from Australia to the plains of East Africa There are 4 species in this huge savanna, including plain zebras and their ostrich roommates. And other than being the real-life equivalent of Big Bird from Sesame Street, they also have big eggs, as seen by this display. There's a myth that ostriches bury their heads in the sand. The bird would get sand in their eyes and beak if that myth was true. When danger threatens, ostriches will lie low and put their necks on the ground, and their feathers help them camouflage into the sand. And if that fails, they can always deliver a powerful kick. To learn more about ostriches, refer to my Africa at the Cincinnati Zoo tour. But the zebras and ostriches also live with common elands. Common elands are huge, and elands may be slow, but they are also great survivors. There isn't a lot of water in the Namib Desert, so the eland conserves water by controlling its body temperature. Because they need less water than a dairy cow, eland milk can last up to 8 months. It doesn't even need to be refrigerated. Does this mean they're endangered? Don't worry, my friends. The common eland is least concern. On the other hand, the Banta Buck almost went extinct. What is a Banta Buck? A Banta Buck is an African antelope, and their name is an African word that translates to spotted goat. The Banta Buck was hunted for their skin and meat, and by the early 20th century, there were only 17 individuals left. Thankfully, a farmer decided to keep the Banta Bucks on his property, and the antelope couldn't escape since they couldn't jump. In 1931, the Banta Bucks were sent to a national park where they could thrive. By 1961, there were 61 Banta Bucks, and currently, there are 2,500 Banta Bucks in the wild. To the Tiger Crossroads we go! Here we are! The first view showcases a perfect jungle oasis. Let's head inside this Sumatran-style building to meet... Whoa, that's a big eye! Don't worry, my friends. It's just a projection. But other than that, you can get up close and not too personal with the zoo's tigers. As of 2022, the zoo is home to 2 tigers. In the mornings, you might find their male Felix, who came from the Greensboro Zoo in North Carolina. And if you visit the Crossroads in the afternoon, you might find Francis, who arrived from the Topeka Zoo in Kansas. In my travels, I have never been this close to a tiger. Like the cassowary, tigers are solitary. A tiger will mark its territory by scratching or urinating on trees. But if another tiger enters their territory, let's just say it can result in a nasty fight. Like I said in my Maharaja Jungle Trek tour, a tiger's stripes are great camouflage, but each tiger's stripes are one of a kind. Because tigers are an endangered species, the zoo hopes to breed Francis and Felix so they can help the tiger population grow. And that concludes our second tour of the Nashville Zoo. Would you recommend these 2 areas to anyone? Yes, I would, my friends. When we return to Nashville, we'll continue down the hill and head into the award-winning Expedition Peru Trek of the Andean Bear. We'll meet the channel's first Andean bears, arowanas, and pudus, as well as the return of the cotton-top tamarin. And who's ready to answer today's question? I am. What is your favorite big cat? As always, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for watching.